Hello everyone and welcome to another cup draw video for the PCN. It's been a while since we've had one of these in this format, but we are here to get our Season 14 preseason cup draw done and dusted. We're trying something a little bit crazy this time. We've been doing the 32 team and then when we can, an 8 or 16 additional for a little while now, but it's kind of been a first come first serve. I know there's a lot of teams that really wanted to maybe compete in this that, their manager comes on a couple hours after make the post and there's already all the spots are filled. Um, and that's something that we could go back to in the future, but I think for this season, we'd love to try having everybody there in one tournament. And it does mean it'll go an extra round potentially for the teams to go all the way. So it's going to be a long night for some. But I think it'll be a lot of fun having all the teams. We're up to 60, so if we can get to 64, that would be a true 6 rounds everybody can play the whole way through. As of now, what we basically need is 4 teams will be getting a bye, and the other 60 teams will obviously, or I guess the other 56 teams will be playing in this round. 4 teams are going to get a bye. Um, so we don't have the page yet up for on League of Public, but just wanted to briefly show you um, all the 60 teams are going to be in it. So that was Super League. Here is League One, how it's looking this season, and then of course we have League Two. So you could easily have anybody in here play anybody in here, or anybody in League One or Super League. It's a big mishmash, and I think it'll be a lot of fun having this big tournament. Um, so without further ado, I've rambled long enough. Let's go ahead and run this draw. Probably not going to give too much commentary because it is a lot of teams, a lot of games. Um, well, we've got all 60 teams listed here, alphabetical order. You'll see up here I did make 4 buys. So as these come, I'll be taking them out. If for some reason a buy was to come out as the first team and then the next thing that came out was another buy, I would just rerun the draw. And because obviously we don't want that, it wouldn't make any sense. So hopefully we don't come across that. If we do, that's all we have to do. Otherwise, there'll be no redraws or anything like that. So let's go ahead and run the draw. So first team out is going to be League Two Frankfurt. And their first preseason cup match will be against Super League Bayer Leverkusen. They have a new team in charge over there. Next up will be one of the buys, and the lucky team getting that bye will be Lazio here in the first round, League One Lazio. Next up is going to be Toronto FC, team that is coming back to PCN after a few seasons out of the woods. This team we had around in the league, I think, in the middle seasons, and is a League One team. They are back, and they'll be taking on Barcelona, team in League One, still looking to get back to Super League. It's been a long time since they've been in Super League, and this could be the start of that journey. Next up is PCN Monaco, last season's League One winners. Going to do their thing in Super League this season, and they're taking on Real Madrid, which I know there's a bit of an admin rivalry, if nothing else, right there. So that is a fun first round matchup. Next up will be West Ham United from League Two, and they'll be taking on fellow League Two side Porto. The next team out of the block is going to be Chelsea. This is a new Chelsea. This is the old Valencia guys, so they kind of completed their Valencia journey, now ready to push on with Chelsea, and they'll be taking on a Liverpool team, which I think everybody in the league is hoping can rebound and find their way back up the leagues after back-to-back relegations. Next up is going to be AC Milan, a team that had a strong finish the last season, but 2 seasons in a row that have been, I think, a bit disappointing. Jigsaw's taken over there, and they'll be taking on LAFC, who was a team that may have to do a little bit of rebuilding, but I think surprised a lot of people. Had a very good season last year in Super League in their first go of it. J-Lip is back. Next team out is going to be Rangers. We have both Celtic and Rangers in League Two now. Should be a fun rivalry down there. We're not going to get them right away here in the preseason cup, as Rangers are going to draw Wolfsburg from League One, a team that pushed hard for playoffs last season. Next up, Athletic Bilbao, one of the new teams to League Two. And their first game will not be a game. They will be getting a bye. So there's our second bye taken. Next matchup is going to feature PSG, who, after 10 seasons in Super League with Stay High, finally went down last season. They'll be in League One, so we'll see how they can get on. And they'll be starting things off against Santa Clara, a team that are back in PCN as well after a season's absence. They're coming in into League Two. Next up, our Fiorentina, team that's been pretty solid in League One for a few seasons now, and they'll be taking on a Napoli side, which one of the oldest teams in PCN. I don't think people know that, but they've just never. It's been a while since they've had a lot of success, so we'll see what they can do this season. Next up is the Cup heroes of last season, Atalanta, who were your Royal Cup winners, PCN Cup semi-finalist, and they will be taking on Sporting Club Portugal from League Two. Next up is going to be a bye for someone, and that lucky team is going to be Atlanta United. So Atlanta United will have a nice little ease into the cup. LA Galaxy are up next, team that really kind of surprised some people in League One last season. Finished strong, finished third, won the playoffs. See how they do get on in Super League this season, and they'll be taking on a Man City team led by Isco God, Golden Panda, his first foray into management into PCN. Next up are Celtic, the aforementioned club down there in League Two, headed up by Louis himself, and they'll be taking on Hearts, fellow Scottish team, but one that came out of League Two last season. Obviously, that's the path Celtic would love to take. Next team out of the blocks is going to be last season's Super League champions, Orlando Pirates, looking strong as ever. Already have a Community Shield in their bag this season, and they'll be taking on Lille, who are last season's Newcastle. Transition to Lille, we have Lille back in the league, another team that's kind of floated in and out. Hopefully they're here to stay. Next matchup will feature Marseille, or as some like to call it, Martial, and they will be taking on Everton. So it's a pair of League Two teams going at it in the first round. Next up will be PSV, team that just scraped by, survived League One last season. They do have new management in charge over there. I'm taking it on a Sociedad team, which had a lot of success last season, got promoted from League Two. See how they get on in League One. Next up will be Schalke, team that's been stuck in League Two, I think, a little bit longer than they would hope, and they'll be taking on a Roma team which had gone down there, has gotten to League One, trying to push on for bigger and better. Next out is going to be Young Boys. We have a new team there as well. That's going to be some of the guys from last season's Inter, at least the first half of the season. They'll be over there at Young Boys, and their first test will be against Lyon. So that's definitely a couple teams expecting to be up high on the table in Super League, getting it going in the first round. Next up, Juventus, team that managed to get another cup last season despite a lower finish in the table than perhaps they would have liked. And they'll be taking on a Spurs team, which have, I think, finished right outside the top six a few seasons in a row now. They also have new leadership in charge. Online Ace is back in management. Next team out will be Borussia Dortmund from League One. They swapped with Arsenal, so that's going to be Texas Ace and some of the guys from last season's Arsenal, and obviously some new people over there. And they'll be taking on a Man U team. Magic back at it again, doing his thing. Next matchup will feature Feyenoord from League Two, and they will be playing against Wolverhampton, a team that got all the way up from League Two to Super League in just a few seasons. See how they do in their first season in Super League. Next out will be Sevilla, a team that did go down from last season's Super League. If they can rebound in League One this season, they'll be taking on a lesser team, which are a bit of a PCN OG team. Panic has returned and brought back some very familiar faces to some of us, and we'll see how they get on in League Two. Next up will be Valencia. So this will be Bob McStuffin and his crew from Leverkusen. They have moved over to Valencia, and they'll be getting it on over there. And they'll be taking an Ajax team, which obviously ran League Two last season, looking to get back-to-back promotions. A lot of the same core has returned. Next matchup will feature Bayern Munich. Frost took over last season, wasn't able to get them out of relegation, but he will try to do his best to get them promoted back to League One this season, and they'll be starting off against Inter Milan. Obviously, a new Inter Milan team with T over there. 6 matchups remain, and one of them will be a bye, and that lucky team will be Real Betis, team that just missed out in the playoffs last season. in League One, looking to do better this time around. Atletico Madrid, a fellow League One team, is next out of the draw. A team that I think, again, looking for that promotion this season. It'll be taking on a New York City team, which is returning from last season, trying to solidify again in Super League, maybe push on and surprise some folks. League Two, RB Leipzig, they got relegated, have a new manager in charge over there, and they'll be starting off their preseason cup against Benfica. A Benfica team is looking to be revitalized and charged back up, and proved last season was just a one-off. Third to last matchup will feature Newcastle. Leak has gotten his 20 team promoted and then switched to Newcastle, a team he's always wanted to have, and they'll be taking on Braga, team in League Two. Racing Club are out next, team that was new to League Two last season, and they will be facing off against Seattle Sounders from League One, which means our final matchup will feature Inter Miami playing host to Arsenal, who have been relegated to League One and are going to be playing with Miami this season. So that is our draw. I did, of course, eventually break my own rule and started to elaborate a little more on each team, but it's just I can't help it. I like to chat about these guys and kind of run through my thoughts on where they're at going into the season. But hopefully everyone enjoyed my rambles as always, and looking forward to playing in the preseason cup tomorrow. Standard rules apply in terms of, you need to be signed or seriously trialing for a team to play. If you're on another roster, you need permission from your manager to play for another team. If you're playing on a team and you get knocked out of the cup, you can't just go play for, two other teams that night who did not lose right away. Try to be fair to everybody. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Season is just around the corner, and now we've got our preseason cup draw, and we will play some FIFA. Let's go, boys.